one piece of coaching news that happened yesterday. Set off my spidey sense where something just doesn't add up. Look, when you interview as a head coach in this league, it is a process, okay? It's a process. And if you interview multiple times, I can't imagine. Like, you're going through the same thing, you're saying the same lines, over and over again. And if you're interviewing with the Denver Broncos for the second straight year, you're kind of glad that there's a new ownership group because they haven't heard your stuff yet. I always think when coaches use their lines, like the end of Officer and a Gentleman, when Louis Gossett Jr. is using the same lines with just different recruits, right?
Yep.
It's a process. You got PowerPoints, you got Zooms. And if you're a coach who's interviewing for head coaching jobs when you're still coaching for a team that's in the playoffs, I mean, you got to find a window. You can't just say, oh, yeah, I'm available when you need me. No. You got to tell them I'm available here. So clearly you're interested in the job if you're taking the time out of preparing for a playoff game as a coordinator to be a head coach. And if you've done it 2 years in a row, you clearly want to be a head coach in this league. Certainly if you've
or you're getting leverage.
Been a head coach in this league, taking a team to a Super Bowl. You've got that taste in your mouth. Certainly if you've lost it, that's all I keep hearing about my coach at Michigan. Oh, my gosh. He's got that resume that he needs to have, filled with a Super Bowl ring because he didn't get one when he was with the Niners and Jim Harbaugh. That's why he just can't focus on being a Michigan coach with that Super Bowl still out there. So what about Dan Quinn? Does he not want one? Is an HC? The situation's not right again for him in Denver? Situation's not right for him wherever he interviewed? For him to go back to Dallas, as he announced yesterday, because there's unfinished business as a defensive coordinator for the Cowboys. Now, last year, I was like, okay, so he just wasn't into these other opportunities and he pulled back. And if you recall, we had Mike McCarthy on this program after Quinn stayed. Then after everything played out with that, and after a story appeared on DallasCowboys.com with a quote from Jerry Jones saying, coordinators like to stay with us because they all know in the history of me owning this team, they've got a shot at the real job.
Of course.
The HC. And everyone's like, huh. So does that mean Mike McCarthy's on the hot seat? No. That does not mean that at all. And McCarthy even came on here and said he had to have a conversation with Jerry Jones about that and with Dan Quinn saying, come back. I'm cool with it. With the speculation being that you're sticking around for my job, since Jerry Jones pointed out that is a blueprint that is in the mind's eye of the assistants who stay. I mean, these are all facts.
They are facts. I have to give you that.
And placed on the internet by the team's own website. So for the second straight year, Dan Quinn sticking around?
Yeah. Why not?
Come on. So he wants to see it through with Tank Lawrence?
Rick,
come on, man.
Being a head coach, there's so much more responsibility.
Dude, he interviewed for the second straight year. He went through the circuit for the second straight year. And he took time out for the second straight, for this time around, out of preparing for the 49ers he's interviewing because he was just dipping his toe in the pool again. My spidey sense is going crazy about this.
Your spidey sense.
Why? Because something is up in Dallas. You know it, and I know it.
Look, man, he's got a great gig. Maybe he's happy where he's at. He's enjoying what he's doing.
Come on, man. He said he doesn't want to be a head coach in the NFL again. For 2 straight years, he's now checked it all out. And
so what do you think he's being blackmailed? Like Jerry's got pictures or something?
No, because he gets a sense he could be the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys.
Of course he does.
And I don't know if he's gotten that sense from
Jerry Jones.
I don't have an answer for that. But I'm just telling you what everybody's thinking. My texts are blowing up. Why is he staying for a second straight year? to be a defensive coordinator when he used to be an HC, took a team to the Super Bowl, was up 28-3 in it. This is a damn good coach who, by the way, you should celebrate. You should be a Cowboy fan saying, why shouldn't he stay? You should. I'm not saying you shouldn't celebrate.
I mean, seriously.
You got
and by
we get good news and we're told it's a bad thing now?
Staying. Like, we're all happy.
But of course not. You don't. Why would you sit there and think, why is he staying?
I didn't want the guy to go.
The 31 other teams are going, I think I know why he's staying. And certainly those who offered him the opportunity to interview for their head coaching job, and then before it all is up, he's like, I'm good. Staying put. There's still jobs open. Now, he can get the sense he's not in the running for those gigs, and he's pulling back before he doesn't get them, and he's beating everyone to the punch, so he still has...
Of course. That's more... might be more of it.
...feel about him as being wanted elsewhere. That could be it, too. But, man... I just laid out for you how it all was set up last year. And McCarthy did do a good job this year. Losing a tackle on the line, losing his quarterback for 5 games. He did a really good job. But why is Dan Quinn sticking around there?
Maybe he likes being a coordinator and working with the generation talent.
That's all I'm saying.
What's up, good people? Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, as well as Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. It's time to open up for business here, and let's wake up the football gods here. And let me let you guys know, you know I am partnered now with BUSR Gambling, and you should have hooked up before. Eastside, what's up? Dak is okay. Whatever, Eastside. Eastside. You know, it's amazing that we have a Texans fan that thinks that they have the right to troll when they lost to everybody. But back to BUSR. If you open up an account with BUSR, within 24 hours, put in $100, you will be entered into a $1,000 bet that will be picked up by random between now and the 6th of February as we get ready to put money, of course, on the Super Bowl. So definitely the link is in the description. Check it out, and good luck at winning that. Okay, so we have literally Eastside Herald, one of the worst teams in football, trying to troll us. You know, have we really fallen that far? Have we really fallen that far? And you know what? I'm done with being upset, okay? I'm done with listening to idiots that are trying to steal my thunder and make me feel bad, because, you know, the world is a crazy place. It is a crazy place. Crazy things have been happening. But I want to play something for you guys, and I want you to think real hard for a second about what was said. And I then want you to think of how this season went. Just listen to this.
And the headline reads, Mac, it's official. This is the worst Dallas Cowboys offseason of the century, Mac?
Name me one. Yeah, I was thinking about this yesterday, Kevin, and I can't think of a headline. I can't think of we're almost at 4 months in, right? We're almost at April. And I went back to January 1. Think about how negative it's all been.
Yeah.
And I you know, God bless the Cowboys. I know you guys are the flagship. They let you guys say whatever you want to say. For my 3 years there's only one time, Sean, that they said, yeah, don't ask that question. Everything else, it's been fair game.
Yeah.
Not everybody does that. We saw with the Washington Commanders.
Yes.
Their flagship station saying, oh, thank God we can talk about the Commanders now. no longer affiliated with them.
Right.
So, but I looked at really, when I looked at just like a day-by-day timeline, you know, they beat the Eagles on January 8th. They lost 2 out of their 3 games, right? They blame the officials for basically 2 of the 3 losses, which is terrible. Dak Prescott sits there and endorses fans throwing junk at officials after the San Francisco game. He has to come out and apologize. You've got a PR director who retires. No big deal. 2 weeks later, there's this horrible story about him being accused of voyeurism, which he denied.
Yep.
But the Cowboys have to throw a $2.5 million check at 4 cheerleaders. Dak Prescott has another surgery. The Cowboys trade a wide receiver that they used the number 1 pick on back in 2018 in exchange for a 5th because the coaching staff doesn't like him, right? Then they give all this money to a guy who tore his ACL on January 2nd. Michael Gallup's not going to be ready for camp, right? Tank Lawrence is their best pass rusher. He comes back, that's a highlight. Jerry Jones gets named in a, Springer-like lawsuit. Randy Gregory, whom the Cowboys stuck by despite the fact that he had done nothing for them for years, gives them the middle finger, right, on a flip. Then they've got to cut Lyle Collins because the coaching staff didn't like him. But they kept their punter.
Mac, why is Stephen Jones the Alan Greenspan of the NFL?
That's a great one-liner, by the way.
Thank you very much. Because it's so, we see all these teams talk about we're in cap hell, and then they go out and they trade for Tyreek Hill, or they make these giant moves and add this big contract. I know the salary cap is a real thing, and I've talked to Stephen Jones, whom I like a lot, and he has come to admit and embrace the idea if you're going into free agency, that means you're overspending on that player because you made a big mistake 2 or 3 years ago. Okay, that's fine. That's sound philosophy.
Yeah.
And are you getting any better? The Dallas Cowboys today on March 25th, are they any better today, Sean?
No way.
They were on. Okay.
And no one, not even the biggest Homer fan. I mean, not even Mickey Spagnuolo would make that kid. Mickey might, but
he tried.
Yeah, he would try. But I don't think anyone would say that. They all say it's early. It's early.
Oh, I know.
Okay. That was March last year. You heard him. At that point, there wasn't even a homer out there that would say that this team got better. Right? We had every, talking head out there talking about the joke that was the Dallas Cowboys. You gave away Amari Cooper and you got nothing in return. You signed James Washington, Ryan Null, and Dante Fowler. 3 washed up players. No, actually, I didn't, Alan. I'm sorry. CC, actually, I was one of those ones. I did an hour-long stream about it, of the Cowboys setting themselves up for failure. It looked like the Cowboys were tanking last year. Because here's what happens. You don't seem to understand. We are in the cycle of what they do to us. The season ends. We are the dumbest franchise. The fans are idiots. Dak Prescott sucks. They're chokers. They're no good. Jerry Jones is ass. They were a Super Bowl contending team. They had all the talent in the world, and they failed. That's what they'll do now. We'll go through the draft, and they'll say, oh, these guys that they drafted, they made a mistake. They could have gotten that guy in the 3rd round, and they should have drafted this guy because he's a can't-miss player and stuff. And then by the end of training camp, oh, the Dallas Cowboys, they're a loaded, talented team. They're ready for the Super Bowl. And they get us thinking we are a Super Bowl contending team. When the reality is take a look at those teams that are there right now. Be honest with yourselves. Do you look at it and say, we've got more talent than the Philadelphia Eagles? Do you honestly look at that and say, we suck because we have more talent than the Philadelphia Eagles? Or do you look at it and say, we suck because we have more talent than the San Francisco 49ers? I don't look at those two teams and say they have inferior players to us. Do you? Do you honestly say we have better players than those guys? That we have more talent, we have better coaching, that we have all of the things that they have? Eastside, you know what, Eastside, I'm not taking this from you today, Eastside. Eastside, I'm not taking it from you today, dog. Your team has never done shit. Eastside, your team has never done shit. Your team every year is a failure. Okay, Eastside. So come on. Come on. I can take that from an Eagle fan who right now is in the NFC Championship. I'll be damned if I'm going to take it from the Texans. Okay?
I don't remember asking you a goddamn thing.
If we had lost to the Texans, I would say that is a disgrace because we have far and away better talent than the Texans because they're idiots. Roland's Review. What's up, Stacy? How are you doing tonight, Stacy? Packard Pop, what's the point of this? Make me feel the same soap opera every year. But see, here's the thing. No. Stop letting him steal your thunder. Because think about it. No, the East Side, I'm gonna be that. I'm gonna be that way. I'm gonna be that way, East Side. But seriously, let me ask you this. Do you think that we have more talent than the Buffalo Bills? Aisha Robinson, how you doing? Do you think we have more talent than the Buffalo Bills? I don't. But guess what? The Bills are sitting at home on the couch with us too. Gina, what's up, Gina? Trucker's Life. Thank you. Trucker's Life is right there. We actually overachieved. No, Chris, I'm not going to say we're tanking this season. Now, well, you know what? I will say we're tanking this season if we end up trading CeeDee Lamb for a 5th-round draft pick. If we trade CeeDee Lamb for a 5th-round draft pick, I'll say we're tanking, okay? I'm sorry you're having a rough day, Aisha. Hope you feel better. Hope everything gets better. Junebug, what's up? Wide receiver from Boston College, now a 1st-round prospect. New member. If Kellen Moore remains, it will be just, well, that's the question. That's actually the real question is Kellen Moore and his status. I will say, here's the hope if you are a non-Kellen Moore fan. If you are looking at that and saying, he's got to go. Dan Quinn, been out interviewing for coaching, did 2nd interviews with Indianapolis, 2nd interviews with Arizona and things. He's been away from the Cowboys all week. He immediately said, no, I'm not going to go ahead and take these jobs. And the Cowboys, boom, right then and there, we're welcoming Dan Quinn back. There was no question. There was no, well, Dan, hold up, buddy. Dan, okay, yeah, I'm glad that you want to come back, Dan, but we've got to go through the coaching evaluation process, okay? We'll meet with you tomorrow, Dan, and we'll go over your evaluation before we say that you can come back. Yeah, but just hold up. Just hold up, Dan, okay? We're glad you want to be here. We were hoping that you could get yourself, a head coaching job and stuff. But just slow down a little bit. We haven't had a chance to sit down with you to go over your evaluation. That didn't happen with Dan Quinn. There was no question. Dan, hey, Mike McCarthy. Oh, I'm so glad Dan Quinn's back. Oh, he's the only thing that helped save my ass. The fact that we had a defense going. I'm so happy Dan is coming. You didn't get that energy when he asked about Kellen Moore. Did you notice that? That's where you got, we're still doing the evaluation processes with the coaches and meeting with people and things. And I haven't had a chance to sit down with Kellen Moore. So you see your defensive coordinator, hey, come on, give me a big hug. Welcome back. Yay. Kellen Moore, we haven't had a chance to sit down yet. And we'll be meeting tomorrow and talking about, and then you hear the little whisper of, there's no decision that's been made just yet. There's no decision expected today. So that says it's not a home run where we figure you're just coming back. Yeah, no problem. And here's the thing that's kind of interesting is because the coaches that have been let go. Let's think about this for a second, okay? So, Joe Phoeben, who former head coach, he's got head coaching experience. Joe Phoeben, friend of Mike McCarthy's, offensive line coach. The Dallas Cowboys offensive line has not been the great wall of Dallas. You could almost say it's been lacking. And so you could look at that and say, maybe we can do better than Joe Phoeben. And so they got rid of him. And that could be because there's going to be a change of philosophy. Skip Pete has been incredible with Zeke Elliott. Skip Pete is a ground and pound offensive line. Running back coach. Funny. Breaking news. Yeah, okay. CC Love. Ha. Skip Pete has been, instrumental with Zeke Elliott. Getting rid of him may be that you're not bringing back Zeke Elliott. It may be that that's the reason why you get rid of him. And it may be that you're changing your offensive philosophy. Because when you're doing, let's say, the West Coast offense, it's not so much the ground and pound as it is more dynamic, which suits really Tony Pollard better. As opposed to the old, I'm going to run it up the gut. I'm going to have man on man. I'm going to take Zeke Elliott and he's going to be a battering ram. Is that really my baby or is that a troll? Happy anniversary, Mark Holmes. Love you more and more every year. See, because tomorrow is my anniversary. Yes, it is. Tomorrow is my anniversary with my wonderful bride of 19 years. Shout out to Tracy for putting up with me for 19 years. What's crazy is Paula Bettis. What's up, Paula Bettis? And Kelly Romero. What's up, Kelly? What's crazy is I met my wife in 1984. I don't know if you guys are old enough to remember. We used to have to read this book, 1984, because it was about Big Brother watching you and everything else. And we were all scared. We were scared because, oh my God, this is what the world's going to be like in 1984. I'm that old that we read a book about 1984. But that's the year that I met my beautiful bride. 1984 at JMU. Okay, we talking about the high top fade and everything else, okay? But I was young and dumb and became crazy Mark. And it was like, you're a nice guy and all that, but nah, bro. it ain't happening. It took me, them boys kicks like I wasn't even born yet. Yeah, you a baby, man. You a baby. It took me 18 years. 18 years. It's actually tomorrow. Or we could say tonight at midnight. Actually, what I can say is, okay, I'm gonna give. Okay, I digress a little bit here, but you know what? If you can't be self-deprecating, why not, Felix? Maybe you're right. Change the philosophy. Let Dan Quinn make the offensive calls. Okay, now Felix, let's not get crazy. I'm not ready to say Dan Quinn, Rojas is the one to do it. But true story. Actually, we could say this is our anniversary meet back up. Because, believe it or not, I was not very computer literate. I know. You look at all this stuff that I do now, but seriously, I sucked at a computer. And I decided, after being a single parent, raising Michael and Michaela, that I was going to do Match.com and just kind of, start using the computer a bit, right? And I remember Michaela had a Barbie 0.3 megapixel camera, and I took a picture of myself and did Match.com. Match.com. And I made myself a profile, put it out there, and I got a message back. And it was one of those things that, in life that you don't honestly know, but you know. I got a message that says, you look like somebody I knew from JMU. And it was just like, I knew at that moment who it was, and it was Tracy. It was Tracy. And sent messages back and forth. By about 10 o'clock that night, we were talking on the phone. We talked till about 2 o'clock in the morning. The next day, I went to her job and had lunch with her. Had flowers with her, because I was just like, this is Tracy. Because I remember talking to my friend Alex. I said, Alex, remember that girl Tracy I used to talk about, the one that got away? I said, I was talking to her. I said, I can't believe it. So I went to lunch with her. And guess what happened? Guess what? Oh, my God. It was so sad. She's like, oh, it's my friend Mark. It's so nice to see you again. I was like, what? I was like, I said to her, I ain't going nowhere. I ain't going nowhere. I'm going to be right here. And a couple weeks later, we were a couple. And by Memorial Weekend, I had sold my house. We took the money from it, and we ended up moving Memorial Weekend to where we are right now. Perseverance. It took 18 years. 18 years of waiting, but it was worth it. And anything that's worthwhile is worth waiting for. And it's actually great that actually came up. Shout out to Tracy. Shout out to my wonderful bride, my partner in life. The first thing I see every morning. We've been waiting for a long time, but that day is going to come. I believe it. And here's what I believe, that right now, if you are actually the Cowboys front office,
back outside like that, that's the only time you throw that in man-to-man, because you lost your man. But they were in a zone type bracket
where did that come from?
And all of a sudden, he still throws the football. I'm like,
hold on,
what are you doing?
And like, are they gonna?
Because he ain't reading it right for whatever reason.
Final score 19.
Where did that sound come from?
And I know, you say, well, they come away with 3 points, and how does that the difference in the game? Those 2 interceptions, but those are points you.
I don't know where
offense, even just getting field goal range, just keep the chains.
Where the hell is that coming from?
Like when a defense plays like the way the Cowboys defense did, you need the last thing the quarterback can do is turn the ball over twice on the road in the playoffs. And I got to imagine that is demoralizing.
Okay,
Dallas
my system's acting up.
Forgot someone like Micah Parsons, who Micah Parsons, you look and you go, oh my God,
exactly.
this dude.
Have you ever been side-eye?
He really looks like LT.
Have you ever been side-eye, Max, by anybody?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Yeah, of course.
Who asked?
Imagine how many side eyes Dak Prescott got yesterday from his teammates. On the field, off the field, on the plane, standing in line, getting ready to get on the plane. I can only imagine, because you're right. When you throw 2 interceptions, and your defense plays that way, those interceptions are costly.
Okay, let's see if I can get that back. Okay. All right, let's try this. Hold up. We them boys. Let's see. Let's see if we're still here.
One piece of coaching news that happened yesterday.
Okay. I may have learned a new trick. All right, are we still here? Are we still live? Are we still? Okay, we're still live. Okay. I don't know. There's a ghost in the machine somehow. Something's going wrong. Something is crazy with my system that I can't seem to figure out. But we're going to figure it out now. It's the off season. All right. D2 Stu. But here's, okay, let me get back to my original thing. With the off season that we had last year, okay, that right now people are having Mark rocking Alienware money. Okay, yeah, well, the system is going on 3 years old. Okay, it's getting up there with the Alienware, but be that as it may. With the offseason that we had last year, where we saw Denver go out and say, let's get Russell Wilson and spend a boatload. We saw the Cleveland Browns say, let's get Deshaun Watson and spend a bunch of money. We saw the Carolina Panthers say, let's go out and get Baker Mayfield. The Washington Commanders go out and get Carson Wentz. We saw the Miami Dolphins go out and get Tyreek Hill. We saw the Buffalo Bills go out and get Von Miller. We saw the Raiders get Devontae Adams. We saw all these teams getting all these players. We saw the Eagles going to get A.J. Brown and making all kinds of moves and stuff. And you saw other teams getting better. It definitely looked like Miami was getting better. It definitely seems like that the Eagles got better. It seems like San Francisco got better from those moves that they made. We looked at what we did, and we said last year, we got worse. We said we probably are not a playoff team. We said the Cowboys don't care about winning, right? Right? We said all these things and said, we're screwed. We're screwed for the season. But yet, the Cowboys still 4-2 in their division. The Queen is here. What's up, Queen? 4-2 in our division, in the toughest division in football. They go back-to-back years in the playoffs with 12 wins. They're the third youngest team in football. And all we hear from all the talking heads is, blow it up. Make City ENT. So if you're the Dallas Cowboys, honestly, if you're Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones, you should say, shit. What if we had made just a couple of moves, just a couple of little moves to get better? Red Dean 88, you're right. Red Dean, you are 100% right. I didn't say all those things because you know why? I was in the heat of the moment. I was disappointed because I had hope and started believing this hype that we had a roster that's ready to compete against these teams that were better. You're damn right I was upset. I go back, right now I'm going back and looking and saying, damn, if we could just go back in time and, stop Jerry and Stephen Jones from trading Amari Cooper. Maybe stop giving Michael Gallup $12 million a year. right? Maybe take that $12 million and invested that into another receiver or a tight end or another offensive lineman. Because the difference between winning and losing is so small. The difference of us losing to San Francisco, yeah, my quarterback made some interceptions. But guess what? As everybody's singing the praise of Brock Purdy could have had 3 of them. Diggs literally could have either knocked the ball away from George Kittle or he could have intercepted it. If he had intercepted that, you don't think that that's not a momentum changer, a game changer, and a way that you win? Against a team that, take a look at their offensive weapons. How many of their offensive weapons, position by position, would you have traded for? That you would exchange and say, we're better than them. We see Dalton Schultz. I love Dalton Schultz. He's cool people. He's a good player. But he ain't George Kittle. He ain't George Kittle. He ain't making plays like George Kittle. Right or wrong. And that's the difference. The Cowboys, Stephen Jones is going to give you a Stephen Jonesism. If you're having to spend a whole bunch of money on free agents, it's because you messed up 3 years ago. Well, yes. And the Eagles, they messed up with wide receivers for years. They ended up going, Rhaegar and Dakota Whiteside and things. They screwed up for years at wide receiver. But guess what? They said, we got to get a wide receiver. We know we've screwed up, but that doesn't mean because we screwed up that we have to do without. Let's go out and get a good one. And you see where they are, and you see where we are. So, going by Stephen Jones' logic, we screwed up at wide receiver because we traded for Amari Cooper. And then we acerbated it because, unless you believe that Jalen Tolbert was as good as Amari Cooper. Because, see, that's what we did. That's what we did. We started a season with guys that... How many teams, let me ask you, how many teams is Noah Brown starting for in the NFL? How many teams is Dennis Houston starting for in the NFL? They're not. How many tight ends would you take over Dalton Schultz? Between Dalton Schultz and Michael Gallup, between those two guys, we spent $23 million last year. As everybody talks about, well, and mind you, Dak's cap number last year was $19 million. $19 million was Dak Prescott's number. Everybody, these numbers, 49. It's not going to be 49. It's not going to be 49. That's why they've got 2 voidable years in his contract. His contract will be restructured, so it'll be somewhere probably about 22, 25 million. Okay? But what the Joneses have to understand is you only got 7 picks in the draft. Very few of them are going to be ready the first year. Very few of them are going to be great in the first year. Micah Parsons was. Tyler Smith was really good. Diggs didn't really become Diggs till his second year. And so on. But if we're rolling into the season and saying, Michael Gallup is going to be our number 2 receiver, we know he's not going to be ready to practice in training camp or to start the season, but it's okay. We'll get him sometime early in the season as our number 2 receiver. If we're saying that we're going to sign a free agent in James Washington and he's going to be one of our starting receivers and he couldn't ever get healthy, and if we say we're going to take a 3rd round draft pick because we're so good at drafting and Jalen Tolbert, and he's going to be able to replace the production of an Amari Cooper. We can't expect to think that we're going to beat the San Francisco 49ers that said, we need a running back, let's go get Christian McCaffrey. Oh, we already have a Deebo Samuels out there. You know, we've already got a nasty defense. We got other playmakers throughout. And we got Kellen Moore. They got Kyle Shanahan. So don't be mad about where we ended up. Those guys overachieved from what everybody thought they were going to do. Yes, it sucks that we're not in the Super Bowl. It sucks. But now the question is, here we are at the same point that we were, just like Groundhog Day, as last year. So what you going to do about it, eyebrows? What you going to do about it, Catboy? Are you going to do the same stupid shit and expect a different result? Because you don't believe in signing big-name free agents. Brandon Carr was the biggest free agent that you signed, along with Greg Hardy. That's it. That's the list. That's it. Since 2010, that's the two biggest free agents that you signed. Brandon Carr, who's no longer in the NFL, of course, and Greg Hardy. We were handicapped. Angelica Barone. What's up, Angelica? Kurt Morgan. Let him know, Mark. Paula Bettis. What's up, Paula? Where's Miss Lola? Where's Hot Sauce? What I know about paprika, I know I like smoked paprika better. It's basically, I know my mama makes paprika too. It's the peppers that she dries up and then grinds up and everything else. Hers is a little bit coarse. But yeah, paprika, I love paprika. When I did the jerk chicken, I ended up doing, I'm sorry, not the jerk chicken, the spicy chicken. I used smoked paprika and cayenne pepper and buttermilk and marinated the chicken. That's what I know about paprika. Oh, Lord, Lord, Lord. What about Bennett from Seattle? That wasn't, but see, Michael Bennett, that was past his prime. And that's not a very big free agent signing. Michael Bennett, I mean, that's like Dante Fowler at this point. Michael Bennett was on his way out of the NFL. When I'm talking about you need to sign some game changers. Now, I threw out there an interesting point because here's 24/7 Cowboys. Is McCarthy feeling sad or bad for Kellen Moore to let him go? Actually, here's the thing. Just like I've been married for 19 years, or been together, been married for 18 years, been together for 19. Because see, the 28th is the anniversary of us actually re-meeting each other. Then we got married the next year on the 28th. So it's actually 19 and 18, I think. Or is it 20 and 18? Okay, 20 and 19. I don't know. It's 20. No, it may be 20. 20 years of meeting and 19 years of being married. That's what it is. What you learn when you are married is, what are you going to fall on your sword for? What is worth falling on your sword and dying for? What do you go to the mat for? And so when Mike McCarthy was handed the keys to the kingdom, Kellen Moore was already entrenched here. So the problem for Mike McCarthy is, I can't just go to Jerry and say, Jerry, no, I don't want to do that offense. I don't want to do that offense. Because if yours fails, it's going to be, well, I told you we had Kellen Moore. He is the guy that we should have deferred to, Kurt Moore. Who wins the NFC Championship Sunday? It's one of those things that it's a punch to the gut or to the head. I think it's going to be the 49ers. I really do think it's going to be the 49ers. But we'll see. The thing for Mike McCarthy is you can actually listen to Mike McCarthy, and Mike McCarthy will kind of throw Kellen Moore under the bus. The end of the season last year, when he was asked, well, Mike McCarthy, is there any thought of you calling plays? After we failed. And Mike McCarthy says, well, the way it works is the person who installs the plays is the person who calls the plays, which basically stepped him out of the equation so you could look and say, oh, that was Kellen Moore who installed it and called it. Right? Because what you have to do is you have to let him show that he is not good enough to do it, or is not the guy. For the Joneses to see it, as opposed to you saying that he's not the guy. Do you follow me? You have to let him sink. Because now that he's sunk and they're doing the evaluation process, it's going to be like Mike McCarthy's, it's going to be Jerry Jones goes to Mike McCarthy. Well, Mike, shit. We like Kellen Moore and, we wanted this to work and stuff, but it's not working. What do you think we should do? Oh, okay. I tell you what, how about we go ahead and we change up what we're doing in the offense? How about it's time to scrap what we're doing? Let's let Mr. Multiple curl guy kind of go. And how about we go through with the West Coast offense? We're going to need to get some different philosophies on, the offensive line and the running game and things. We're going to use the Tony Pollard more effectively. We need to get another back that's more dynamic that's in there. We'll need to get another playmaking wide receiver, and we're going to change because now you've let him destroy himself. See, and that's kind of like what Jay Gruden had to do when he went to Washington. He never wanted to play RG3. He looked at RG3 and said, he's spent. He's not the guy. I don't want him, and so forth, right? The ownership said, that's the guy we want. He's the guy. You're going to make him go. So you have to literally let that person destroy the thought that they can do it. It sucks. But the Joneses are kind of boneheaded that way. We did that with Jason Garrett. We know Jason Garrett makes some mistakes and stuff, but we like Jason Garrett and what he does, which is kiss our ass. Because, we...
I think that's a part of leadership, is to have some of the guys that have gone before that have been disappointed to share it with everybody involved. For me, it's a reminder. I, too, have been here 23 years. And it is a reminder. I've been here when it was glory hole days, and I've been here when it wasn't. And so having said that, I want me some glory hole. So I have that perspective.
Yeah, he wants some glory holes. We don't know if Kellen Moore will be coming back, but I will say that it's not carte blanche if he is. If Kellen Moore comes back, it's going to be with training wheels. I honestly believe, and maybe I'm crazy, maybe I'm just hoping, but I think Kellen Moore is not going to be coming back. It's too much. I mean, I know we got the negativity last year on Mike McCarthy, and everybody thought Mike McCarthy was gone. But I really and truly feel like this is Kellen Moore's last go-round. Jerry needs a foot on his glory hole. Oh, Alan Williams. Do you think Kellen is Dak's guy? Dak has always said that, he likes having Kellen Moore and that he's his guy and stuff. But, the peer-to-peer relationship, when I look at Kellen Moore, who's Boise State, who was a backup quarterback for the Lions with Scott Linehan, and comes to the Cowboys with his experiences, because you are what your experiences are, that we need to be doing something different than what we've been doing. We've been doing the same thing. Are you not sick of hearing people tell us how simplistic our offense is? Are you not sick of seeing, here it is, we've got 4 receivers and every single one of them are doing a curl route? Are you not sick of seeing at the end of games and wonder, what the hell is it why is Zeke snapping the football? So it's up to the Cowboys organization and front office. It's up to Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones where this team goes. If they do not look and say, we have to get a playmaking wide receiver for right now to go with CeeDee Lamb, then that tells you all, don't expect us to be in the Super Bowl. You can't have just one good receiver and a bunch of guys. I don't know that Michael Gallup is going to be Michael Gallup that we thought he was going to be his first couple of years. I know what I saw this year was not the same Michael Gallup by any stretch of the imagination. Maybe the offseason will give it some more time to heal and get more confidence with it. But are you going to bet everything on Michael Gallup getting back to being a really good number 2? I'm not ready to. If I'm looking at this season, and for all those out here that keep saying you need to blow it up, okay, I feel you. Before you blow it up, a team that has gone 12-12 2 years in a row, team that has done some pretty good things with inferior talent, why not try for once something different, something crazy, and say, let's push the chips in? We ain't won the Super Bowl in 27 years. What difference will it make if we get into cap hell for a year or two and have to start over? But we might just be close enough that we can win it all. Push the chips in, Jerry. Salary cap's going to be going way up. Go for it. And here's what I would be doing. Striking while the iron is hot. Okay? League year starts in middle of February. You're going to be talking to the other teams and stuff with the Combine and the Senior Bowl. See, there's a lot of work that gets done. A lot of work and talking that goes on before the league year goes. Senior Bowl's coming up. If I'm at the Senior Bowl there, I'm talking to the Buffalo Bills. I'm talking to the Buffalo Bills about Stephon Diggs. Hey, Bills, I saw that blow up that Stephon had with Josh Allen there. It seems like they're not getting along too good there. Why don't you let me help you with your problem? I got me a first-round pick. You can take my first-round pick, and, you ended up using a first-round pick when you traded for him from Miami. I know it was a 22nd. We're at 25, but, there is a little wear and tear, for the couple of years you had him. How about we make that move? We'll take him off your hands. We just want to reunite the family, get the Diggs brothers and things. And you're not trading them in the conference, so you don't have to worry about, that whole revenge thing, How about you do us a solid? Chris B., money talks and BS walks. But here's the thing about it. Chris B., you don't know if you don't ask. You don't know if you don't ask. I'm going to tell you, by what happened on the sidelines, Diggs, basically, Joe, bro, what the hell? You saw that on the sidelines, right? And then to follow it up a couple of days later, you want me to be satisfied with losing? Franchise quarterback or wide receiver? That's like McNabb and T.O. That's McNabb and T.O. right now. I'm just saying, if you are the Dallas Cowboys and you want to get a Super Bowl, you put Stephon Diggs out there with CeeDee Lamb. You put those two guys out there with my quarterback, Dak Prescott. Because, see, all y'all think, and this is the crazy shit, was not Colin Cowherd. He's surprised he hasn't either. But Skip Bayless, who's got a podcast. And I'm just sitting here like, Skip Bayless, when I watched this podcast where he's talking about the Cowboys should trade Dak Prescott to Green Bay for Aaron Rodgers and and I'll take him for, maybe he'll play like as long as Tom Brady. But I'm sitting here and he's got like 5 or 6 pages script that he's got right there. It's like, is this from your heart? He's like, I'm finally done with Dak Prescott as he's reading it. And it's like, this is some bullshit. Aaron Rodgers is not going to be coached by Mike McCarthy. Aaron Rodgers didn't have a 300-yard game this year. The best game he had all season was against the Cowboys, which that seems to be everybody's best game. Aaron Rodgers had 26 TD passes in 17 games and 12 interceptions. Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers couldn't beat the Lions at home. And if you think that, if we just get Aaron Rodgers and put him here on the team and don't add anybody else around him, we're going to win the Super Bowl, you stupid. You are literally the dumbest person in the world if you honestly believe that. Sorry. This whole notion of, the quarterback can elevate. Show me what quarterback is in the NFL right now, Championship Sunday, that is elevating the team without some talent being on there. You show me, because are you going to tell me Hurts doesn't have talent around him? Are you telling me that Jalen Hurts goes to the Jets and he's in the Super Bowl? Are you honestly going to tell me that? Are you going to tell me that Brock Purdy goes to the Texans and they're in the playoffs? Are you going to tell me that? Are you going to tell me that? Because that's the way the talking heads have you believe that if you just take, a quarterback, you don't need to have anybody. You got to have somebody out there catching the ball. You can tell me that if I give Brock Purdy Noah Brown instead of Deebo Samuels, he's going to do great things? Is that what you're trying to tell me? Seriously? You're going to tell me that we trade, Noah Brown for Devontae Smith for the Eagles? That Jalen Hurts is going to do great things with him? Is that what you're honestly going to tell me? Are you going to tell me if we take Dallas Goedert and they take Dalton Schultz, that offense is the same offense for the Eagles? Pat Mahomes has talent, but guess what? When has Pat Mahomes still not had some playmakers on there? Leon? And there's one Pat Mahomes. There's one Pat Mahomes. And as great as Pat Mahomes is, guess what? He's won one Super Bowl. He's not there every year. He's not. That's the thing that people keep getting sold this pot of shit. That if you just have a great quarterback, you're going to win the Super Bowl every year. And that's not the way it works. That's not the way it works. Noah Brown carried us all season. Well, Clifford Franklin, yeah, he's a nice receiver to fill in for a few passes here and there. But when you have a game on the line, sorry, Noah Brown's not the guy you want out there. There's no place like Holmes. Aaron Rodgers is not playing, nor is he going to come to play for Mike McCarthy. That's what I agree. That's where, Mike, I was just like, this is just some bullshit for publicity that Skip Bayless is doing. Anybody out there rationally understands that Aaron Rodgers is $50 million, a diva, okay? And Aaron Rodgers looks like he's spent. So you're going to go from a $40 million to a $50 million and not be able to do anything with the rest of the talent and say, well, we're going to win the Super Bowl? Come on, people. Come on, people. Dallas Cowboys girl, I know you will. But if the Eagles win, Dallas Cowboys girl, I'm going to be sick. It's going to be sick either way. It sucks. And Chris, I just said there's one Pat Mahomes. But even Pat Mahomes can't throw the football to himself. And Pat Mahomes also has Andy Reid and one hell of a play calling offense. You going to tell me that Pat Mahomes is going to be great with Noah Brown and Kellen Moore? Are we really going to say that? Are we really going to say that Pat Mahomes with Kellen Moore and Noah Brown is going to win the Super Bowl? I'd rather have Diggs. Hopkins can't stay healthy. Hopkins is got Dak is the black Dave. Okay. Eastside, your offense with Davis Mills averaged about 17 points a game. With Dak Prescott, the Cowboys averaged 32. The only thing they have in common is they had about the same amount of interceptions. But with the interceptions, we still averaged 32 points after he came back. Did you ever score 32 points in a game this year? What was the Lions' records this season? What were they, 7-9? They were just outside of the Green Bay Packers. Holmes may be the best of the three now, but he had a defense and other pieces around. That's all I'm saying. But see, people keep saying it's just the quarterback. Do you honestly look and say that we have a top 10 wide receiving core? Do you even say we have a top 15? Tony Pollard is very dynamic, like an Alvin Kamara was a couple years ago. But he can't play more than 25 plays in a game. And he still has a hard time staying healthy. Have you noticed that? So you had two good weapons. Tony Pollard, CeeDee Lamb. You can game plan against those when you're playing good teams. So all I'm saying is it's easier to get a wide receiver, to get a really good wide receiver, than it is to get a quarterback. It just is. I can look around and tell you, as everybody talks about Dak Prescott getting paid, well, Aaron Rodgers got paid $50. Russell Wilson got $49. Josh Allen got $46, and he's sitting on the coach's couch just like Dak Prescott. Kyler Murray's got like $45. Deshaun Watson's got like $46. You see that right there? Now, I know a lot of you will say, I'll take Josh Allen in a heartbeat. Josh Allen had more turnovers than Dak did this year. You ain't getting Pat Mahomes. So, I hear Skip Bayless. Well, just, we can draft a quarterback in the third round or the fourth round, and we can groom him to be good. Because, that always works, doesn't it? And the reality is Dak ain't going anywhere. Lamar will be in mid-40s. If he's a free agent, you'll get somebody out there that'll pay him like $47, $48 million. You watch. Dak needs to get his head right. No new commercials if he can. Well, see, some of the problems the Cowboys have, because people talk about Dak Prescott's contract. The reason why that contract is so bad is because of the Joneses. The Joneses, when they did his contract, because there were no years left to go ahead and use to spread it out, is why it became so expensive. They're the ones that screwed the pooch on that years ago. It's not that Dak Prescott is making so much more money than everybody else, but when they extend a contract, you're putting that money down the road in other years. You're putting some of that into the existing contract that's already there. The Cowboys got away with basically paying him $680,000 for the first 3 years and only $2 million the fourth year. You think about Dak Prescott versus Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins has made over $220 million over the years. Kirk Cousins. So don't be mad at Dak Prescott for the mistakes that the Joneses made. And this is where they have the opportunity to not make the same mistakes this year. And that starts now. Blue York Blueprint, how you doing, buddy? Aaron Rodgers would not come to the Cowboys, probably because he is way behind. We all know that. But Blue, that's why I was going through with the whole thing of Skip Bayless. It's bullshit. First of all, the Green Bay Packers said they wouldn't trade him to the NFC. Second part is, if they were going to trade him to the NFC, he wouldn't go for, I'm sure he has a no trade clause in there that he could waive. He ain't waiving it to go to Mike McCarthy. Cowboy star, I tell you what, have you seen his new girlfriend? The swimmer from LSU? No, bro. No, I think it wasn't like Dak broke up with a woman and he was thinking, I'm never going to get another one. It's kind of like Tom Brady, breaking up with Giselle. You may not find Giselle, but I guarantee you won't be alone unless you want to be alone. I don't think that was the issue. Although, I think that they were engaged and they were planning a wedding and all. It might have been one of those things that, because here's what happens when you get married. And I can tell you this from being married for 18 years on the second go round, is when you get married, you have shit to do. And quite frankly, as far as an NFL player, my advice would be is you've got a short window. You have a very, very short window to do this job, to set you up for the rest of your life. I would say is focus in on football. Get your career in. Get your winning. Get your career in. Get your winning. Get out healthy, and then live your life. That's what that would be my thought. That would be my thought. But, I'm old and I can look back differently. Y'all act like Aaron Rodgers is 26. He's about to be 40 on the decline. Again, 26 TDs, 12 interceptions was Aaron Rodgers' season this year. In a division that was not good. Big Pimpin' be getting it in all night long. Pick and pop. Come on now. Rumor is he's dating a 20-year-old swimmer, another blonde, laugh out loud. I gave her a promise ring in a prenup. Um, 49ers, three stringers have more playoff wins than Dak. Okay. She's going to live her life. Exactly. What's up to the Cowboys win versus 49ers? Angelica, Jerry needs an excuse for okay. Most players want to enjoy both worlds at the same time. career and family. I get that. I get that. But, I didn't get married the second time when I was smarter and stuff until I was in my 30s. Just saying. Got to replace the snow with some new snow. Dak should have been offered and should have accepted slightly left after his injury. No, that's not the way it works in the NFL because, you've got a certain set of skills and there's not many of them out there that can do them. Family, he's just... Okay. Don't the Eagles and Rams prove free agency? Yes, they did. Well, anyway, it has been fun, good people. I am actually going to go on this. Actually, it was about this time that I had a first conversation with my wonderful wife, Tracy. In fact, I'm going to call her and see what she says. So, get your shot glasses ready. Oh, let's try that again. As always, thank you, good people. No, not really. Hey, East Side, I'm going to go spend time with my wife. This is the night 19 years ago that I called her right about this time that started the road to where I am right now. So I think you can make it without me for a little bit. I got to take care of the one that I love. Good night, good people.
Turn out the lights, good things must end. Call it a night. The party